Good morning, everyone. I'm Nida Parveen, and I'm your host for today. This video is part of the series called Leadership Insights, which we are doing under the umbrella of WICI, which stands for Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So as a part of the series, we talk to women leaders and entrepreneurs we admire and bring to life their journey to leadership and entrepreneurship. Today, we have a very, very special guest with me. You say, why special? Well, at some point in our life as women, we all have faced some hormonal issues, PCOS, endometriosis, a lot of hair fall, thyroid. Does it ring a bell? If yes, our expert for today is going to unravel the mysteries associated with hormone wellness, entrepreneurship and its challenges, what motivates her to keep going, and also, last but not the least, policy recommendations. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest for today, Ms. Sheetal Ramchandani. Welcome, Sheetal ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nida. It's such a pleasure and my biggest honor to be here on this platform this morning and to be sharing what I have with me to everybody who's viewing and watching. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you, ma'am. It's such a pleasure to have you today. So before I just go deep into the questions, I would want to give a brief introduction of Sheetal ma'am. So Sheetal ma'am is the founder of LivLively. She's an award-winning health coach and also a public speaker who's focused on corporate wellness, one-on-one and family coaching, and also supporting people with special needs. Personally, she's a mother of 2 boys. One of them is an adult. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, she looks so young. And I'm sure now you are more and more interested to know about the power of food, power of exercise, power of hormone wellness and wellness in general. So I will start with the questions now. So ma'am, it's going to be divided first like your professional journey. Then I'm going to talk to you about hormone, the health segment, and last, the policy recommendations. So the first question has to be around your venture and you as a health coach. So ma'am, what was your inspiration or the decision point into going into the health sector? What was the inspiration behind it?
Okay, so actually this starts from my childhood, which was not such a interesting one, or let's say a phase that I went through. So I was born and raised in a city in Pune. And I was only 9 years old when my father was diagnosed with cancer. And he struggled with cancer for almost 9 years. At the age of 17, I actually got admission into a medical school because I had this burning desire to always be in the health sector. So I bagged a scholarship, I got into medical school, and just 1 month into my medical school, that's when my father passed away. Which meant that I had to quit medical school to be with my mom and take care of her. I, of course, at that time had to join in a college of choice, which was available to me in the city at that time. But I learned my most valuable lesson as a teenager at 17, that you could have literally everything in the world. But if you do not have your health, you actually don't have anything. And yeah, I do get emotional every time I talk about it. But fast forward to my own story, at the age of, I was married, and of course I had 2 boys, as you rightly said, one is an adult now. So when I was about 31 and, I had both my boys by then, I weighed over 90 kgs. I was just 30, but I looked so much older than I look now. And I had the least energy to even take care of my own children. And then I just thought it was my weight. So I started gymming and, following every diet that I read about on, in books or on the internet. And it put me into this vicious cycle of gaining weight and again, losing weight and gaining even more than I lost, because all I thought with that health was all about losing the weight and exercising by starving yourself and working out 3 times a day. And that's exactly what I did, which then led me to a hormonal imbalance. And when I was here in the UAE, I was put from one medication to the other, from one doctor to the other, without actually understanding the root cause of my weight gain. Which then led me to take my own health in my own hands. And I said, I do have to find this answer out for myself. So of course, I tried to reach out to, where I could do this in the UAE or India, but I did not find the answer. So I moved to looking for these answers in the US, where, of course, luckily I was directed to a health coach. And then I decided that instead of, being a part of with her, which I did actually, but also to gain insight and learn about it. So it got me back to my passion from the past, that no, I need to even know this for myself. So I actually I took up the course, I joined it, I became a health coach. I specialized in the field of hormonal health first. And I treated my own self. And it was a 360-degree changeover for me, because I realized how diet and lifestyle played a huge role in my hormonal imbalance. I then launched my company and brought it back to the UAE, because what I had done for myself, I just didn't want to keep it to myself. I wanted to share with everybody, or women who were suffering and having similar challenges. So that's my story in a nutshell of how LivLively began, and what was my driving force behind it.
It's pretty interesting to know, and also very inspirational. The next question is around, so the healthcare industry is mainly driven by word of mouth. So how did you manage a successful customer base? Because I know, there are multiple customers associated with your venture. So how did you manage a good customer base? What were the strategies that you used?
Yeah, so 3 things I would put it over here, and I'm going to start with, the individuals, so one-on-one coaching. And I believe in the power of one, and I say that just given your best to this individual who's come here with their health problems, because this one individual is going to be your best marketing partner. He's going to bring in 10 more clients. So definitely working the best for an individual is the first one. Second one is being able to do these webinars and wellness programs for corporates, for laborers, for the wider community has been very helpful. So, if you are providing this awareness and feedback, and maybe people have heard you out, if you can just separate this fact, what am I gaining out of it? If you put that away from your mind, these people you've planted the seed of awareness in them, and that's enough. So even a year or 2 years later, if they've connected with even one symptom or one kind of thing that you suggested, they are going to come back and they are going to spread the word. So I strongly, again, in this aspect, believe that keep spreading this awareness. Don't stop. Just be a giver. And when you share this kind of awareness, it will come back to you, and that's what creates your database as well. And number 3 that has really, helped me create, the widespread network is collaborations. So collaborating with doctors, collaborating with medical clinics, collaborating with meal planning people or food companies. I have just seen that the more we collaborate, rather than saying it's just LivLively as a brand or Sheetal as a brand, but saying that, no, these people are only helping me in my journey, has helped me reach out, because your reach just goes beyond and beyond. So network, collaborate with people, and that's good. And they actually are your branding partners. That's what I call them. They keep talking about your business and about you. And there are so many networking platforms in the UAE at the moment. I'm returning from one just now. So definitely collaborate and network. And that's helped me create this large database, or say spread the name or what I do as a health coach.
Okay, ma'am, this is about your journey in LivLively as a health coach. I also understand that you've worked with children with special needs. I'm sure you've got a lot to learn and cherish from that experience. Could you share one key life lesson you had from the whole experience?
Wow, that's a hard one, actually. I actually worked 6 years with special needs kids before I even launched my company. And one thing that I have a big takeaway from them actually is what I just shared. Just give without wanting anything in return, and that's the lesson I learned from them. So I call it giver's gain, but it was definitely taught by my people of determination. And because they would share so much love and affection with me. Sometimes they didn't even know how to call my name properly. They used to call me just by pointing fingers. And I remember a boy who's worked with me for 4 years and used to call me you. And then there's one day he wanted to thank me, goes up on stage and says, "Thank you, Sheetal." And this is the first time he had ever taken my name. So I just realized that how much love these people shared without literally wanting anything from you. And I realized doing that myself, I would gain much, much more in terms of an internal reward, which words can't explain. So that would be my key takeaway from them. Give without wanting anything in return.
Oh, that's great to know. I mean, we talked about two separate things. We talked about LivLively. We talked about you being a health coach. We talked about you working with children of special needs. Now the next segment is going to be about health. And of course, you are the best person to guide all the women watching here about health, what food can do, what exercise can do. So while we were brainstorming within our team, we got a lot of questions, but we managed to keep only the most frequently asked here. So for this segment, what I'll do is ask you about 3 advices, which can be anything. I mean, something that people should eat, something people should avoid, or any advice in general that you would offer to women with the following health conditions. So first of them is going to be women struggling with health issues, PCOS, endometriosis, any other hormonal health issue, which have increased so much in the past decade.
Yeah. So of course, they have increased in the past decade, as you rightly said, Nida. And one of the reasons that has happened, and a question that I get most often asked, while we didn't have it in our times, why do our kids have it? Or, for years and centuries we've been living. It's just a lot goes to the food industry and how agriculture is done, and the chemicals and pesticides used these days are impacting people's health. And that's why you see these kind of newer diseases and newer, hormonal imbalances that a lot of women are facing. So number one, I would say, having the awareness and the information about having a normal period. It is very important to have that. Talk about it with your girl members or your family members. Know what is a normal period. A lot of people don't even have the awareness of what a normal period looks like. And if you have symptoms, do share it with your family members, share it with an expert if you have around it. So number one, I have realized is definitely awareness, which is lacking. People sometimes don't even know that these are symptoms and symptoms that they should worry about or look into their body. But I think the human body is the smartest computer, and it gives you signals all the time. It's just that we need to be aware. And even if the slightest things which doesn't seem normal to you, ask about it, find out it, Google it, ask experts around it. The second thing I would say is, women, especially with PCOS and endometriosis, do not fall into this one size fits approach or a diet approach and say, I read about it on the internet. And somebody else with the same problem is doing that, because you are unique and you're a bio individual yourself. So do not fall into the trap about what one person is doing, because maybe even it works for your mother or sister, but it doesn't work for you. Yeah. And did you ask me what did women with PCOS do, like a tip session?
Yes. A tip for them.
Okay, so women with PCOS, I definitely, apart from, it's not one size, it's not one diet that fits you, but what really is helpful to women with PCOS is a lot of women with PCOS fear fats. And when I talk about fats, is the good quality fats. That's good for quality ghee or butter or avocado, coconut oil, olives, coconut chunks. These are good quality fats, and they are really, really important to you. And so do not omit them. They actually help you in a good way. Number two, I'd say seeds are your best friend. And the 6 seeds that I talk about are pumpkin, sunflower, sesame, flax, chia, and hemp seeds. Make sure you're adding 1 tablespoon of it every single day in your diet. You are doing brilliantly well for yourself, because what these seeds provide in terms of protein, fats, and carbs, beyond that, they provide these micro minerals and vitamins which our body receives from these seeds. So a lot of us are aware, and some of us are aware of few of them, and we don't add it to our food. But I would say just have it like salt and pepper on your dining table. Add it to your curries, your soups, your salads, or literally to anything that you're eating. Just top it up with seeds, and you'll do really well for yourself.
Okay.
And the last tip for women with PCOS is exercise. And exercise, when I talk about exercise, it does not mean high intensity interval training. It does not work for you at all. So if your trainer is making you do 4 sets of rounds of 6 exercises, that's something that not work for you at all. Women with PCOS or endometriosis and these conditions should work on slow weighted workouts, and that's when you will see greater change in your body.
Okay, I think this reaches out to a lot of people, a lot of women out there who are struggling with these issues, and they start incorporating all these 3 things in their diet. So the next thing is, we as women, mostly we are suffering from some hormonal health issues. We tend to get a lot of fatigue. And that's not the normal fatigue we are talking about. It's very, very intense. So what do you recommend, to get that instant shot of energy, or to be, you have energy throughout the day?
Okay, so, fatigue is one of the very common issues that we are seeing now. And it's, in terminology that we use, we call it adrenal fatigue, which means your adrenals are really, really tired. And what you can do about it, and when you ask me this question, what can I instantly do for that instant energy? So something like what coffee gives a lot of people, and say, when I had a cup of coffee, I was back on energy, but this energy comes back down in about 30 minutes and makes you even crave sugar and carby foods. But one quick tip here I'll share is have a glass of green juice every single day. It's going to give you the energy and so many phytonutrients in your body that you won't even be able to otherwise put, even if you had salad for the rest of the day. So having a green juice, which basically has 2 greens, 1 green vegetable, 1 fruit, 2 antioxidants, or I call them my best friends, is ginger and turmeric, and just blend it out with water or normal coconut water. That's going to give an instant energy. Instantly, you're going to just feel, oh, I have this 4 times multiplied energy. Plus, at the same time, you have bridged that nutritional gap in your body, which is actually giving you the adrenal fatigue, because that's what the power of greens is. And by just having that 1 vegetable juice or a green juice that I call is your go-to thing. If you don't take anything back from my segment today, and if you just add this one thing, you've done well for yourself, no matter where you are in your journey. So that's one thing that I would definitely talk about if I talk about fatigue. The second one, which I always talk about, is managing your blood sugar. And this would go in many aspects. So it would go with your meal timings. It may sometimes go with what type of food is on your plate. Are you pairing a good quality of fat and protein and the fiber in your plate? Is this combination that's on your plate right? And that can be really, really helpful in managing blood sugar. So once you've hacked your blood sugar, you will be able to hack a lot of things internally for your organs, because insulin is one of the key hormones and key driving factors to a lot of hormonal imbalances or areas of, areas that we see in our daily life, which are imbalanced for us. The last one I would say, which is so underrated, is the power of lifestyle, and managing your stress and managing your sleep is a key area. So having good quality sleep, and it's free medicine, and 50% of the problems are solved by just having good quality of 6 to 8 hours of sleep, whatever is comfortable for you. My grandmother used to ask me these 3 questions every time I was not well. She used to ask me, first question, did you sleep? Did you poop? And did you eat? If you've done these 3 well, you've done them for yourself. And now when I connect it to this, it's true. If I've slept well, if I've eaten wisely, and if I have, when she used to say, did you poop? It's like you have a good gut microbiome, because when you pass your bowel movements, it's a lot to do about your internal health and your gut microbiome. And if you've done that well, you've really done well for your body. Yeah. So managing sleep is crucial, and stress is one of the things, and mindset plays such a huge role even in managing your blood sugar. So maybe you're eating well, you're exercising well, but if your brain passes a signal to your body that you're stressed about one email, about a relationship, about something that's going on daily in your life, the brain passes a signal to the body saying there is stress. So the cortisol hormones are out into your body. Cortisol is a master hormone. And when it's out, everything else in the human body needs to stop. Just like when the master is there, everything else needs to stop, and the master needs to be prioritized. And to manage the master, that is our cortisol, our body needs to produce more insulin, irrespective of the fact that we fed ourselves with so much food. So there's a surplus of insulin. So now we are managing our insulin here, because that's so important for adrenal fatigue, but your body is producing more because you're just stressed out.
Stress.
Yeah. So we have a surplus of insulin, and that's why I say insulin and stress, they go hand in hand with each other. And taking a little step towards managing stress. And there are so many lifestyle aspects, which I talk about when we say stress. Apart from meditation, I talk about visualization, power of affirmations, Tai Chi, yoga, the deep breathing, just taking deep inhalation with your oxygen and open your mouth and exhale is a direct signal, instantly manages your stress. So if you really want to manage your stress instantly, like the juice does instant energy, the green juice, the instant management of stress is allow yourself to take deep breath. That's a deep inhale for 4, holding for 4, and exhaling out for 4. And it gives a signal to your brain, stress can be managed. Do not let the cortisol out. Do not create more insulin. And that's your instant way of managing insulin.
Okay. So the first thing that we generally cut when we want to be productive is sleep. And now you're telling us that sleep is so important to manage all the functions. So, okay, I think one quick tip that I'm taking is sleep, more quality sleep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just like you charge your phone, Nida, and your phone won't work. Remember to charge your body, and your body organs will not work if you've not allowed them to rest.
Okay. I'll remember this always. Okay. The third is around hair loss. I think this was one question that came out unanimously from all our team members. How to combat hair loss?
Okay, so when we talk about hair loss, it could be because of several reasons. Somebody with hormonal, which could be PCOS or thyroid, or somebody with as something as adrenal fatigue. So when we look back at the root cause of that, it could be different for each one. But one of the common factors between each one would be the amount of ferritin in your system and the amount of iron. Iron-rich foods would be less. Now, if the gap is too large, we always say of that iron in your blood report, then we say, consult your healthcare provider and take the right iron supplement. Okay. Now, one drawback about iron supplements, it leads to constipation as well. So that needs to be handled wisely. But my suggestion would be do a supplement only if the gap is too huge. Second is also look at your B12 report in your blood report. And if it's too low, then you need to supplement it. Ideally, people who are vegetarian, it's very hard to get that high. high, both these. So iron and B12, if you're a vegetarian, becomes very hard to manage it via food. But if you are somebody who eats animal meat and animal organs, then we really manage it with animal food to get both these levels higher for you, so that you don't have too much hair loss. But again, this is something that we look into lab reports, we look into your internal body, we see what's the hormonal imbalance that you have, and then actually treat. This is your root cause. So you are having hair fall that you feel, but the root cause is these nutrients and vitamins in your body, which are absolutely low, which are important for you for good hair growth and good quality hair. So I would go by the biomarkers that you show me. Yeah.
The fourth thing, and basically the last one in this segment, is about obesity. So, a lot of women say they're gaining weight, they're looking for quick tips to weight loss. There are so many fad diets on the internet, but sometimes nothing seems to work. So any top 3 advice that you would give to these women, who are struggling with obesity and want to lose weight?
Yeah, so all women that are struggling with obesity, obesity is just a byproduct of something that's not going on internally inside your body. So people with thyroid will say, oh, I'm gaining, but they wouldn't know that the thyroid hormone or the gland is not producing enough hormone. And the root cause may be the not so appropriate function of the thyroid gland. Similarly, for anybody who's thinking, I do everything and nothing seems to work, I would definitely recommend them to do a hormone panel check, do a complete blood count check. And sometimes it's just vitamin D. You're so low in vitamin D because vitamin D is one of those hormones, and it is a hormone a lot of people don't know, which is responsible for absorbing every other nutrients. So if your vitamin D is low, sometimes you're eating really healthy, but your body's not absorbing it. So it's not what you eat, it's actually what your body absorbs. So I would say obesity is a byproduct of something that's not functioning internally. So do reach out to a professional or go and get your lab work done, show your lab reports to a professional and find out what's my root cause. The moment you start treating it in that direction, treat the thyroid, treat the PCOS, treat the adrenal fatigue, treat if you may have, irregular periods, treat the irregular period. That could be the reason, and you will see that as you start treating that, weight loss starts happening on the side. It will, because you are treating the internal organ that was actually imbalanced. So it is, again, check with your internal health. Do not fall into the trap of fad diets or what somebody else is doing, and maybe it's working for them, but it does not mean it will work for you. You are unique in your own way, and you are a bio individual, and look at it that way. I'm sure you will find the answers to obesity.
Okay, one last question. Can you help us with like 3 or 4 superfoods, as I would call it, something that we can, as women, any women can include in their diet, and we can get the necessary micronutrients, the nutrients in our body. Something that you would recommend to all the women.
Yeah. So number 1, I already mentioned seeds. So all women, whether you have an hormonal imbalance or you don't have your seeds. You can't imagine what seeds does to your hormones, to your skin, and to your hair. So have the good quality seeds. As I've mentioned, sesame, flax, pumpkin, chia, hemp, and sunflower. These are your 6 seeds. Make sure that they're part and parcel of your system. Second is the good quality fats. Start your day with fat. If you do not want your carb cravings or sugar cravings during the rest of the day, make sure you have good quality fat right in the morning. What does good quality fat look like? It could be soaked almonds. It could be 5 olives. It could be coconut chunks or coconut cream, the fresh malai that you get inside a coconut in water. They're good. You could have half an avocado. You could have a good quality, ghee into your turmeric tea or into your coffee if you need coffee to wake up. You could do these things. If you start your day with a good quality fat, your first thing in the morning, hacking that blood sugar. Hacking blood sugar meaning managing your hormones well. So that's going to be my tip number 2 to all women. And third is add purple foods in your diet, at least one purple food in your diet every single day. Why purple foods? Because the skin or the color of the purple comes in from a special ingredient or plant pigmentation that we call phytocyanins, which is not present in any other foods. So these include your beetroots, your blackberries, your blueberries, the brinjal, purple cabbage, purple cauliflower, and there's a whole list of purple foods if you look around in the supermarket. My favorite is the amaranth leaves. I don't know if I'm sure India and UAE definitely have those.
Yes.
Purple leaves. Make a vegetable out of that. Make sure you're adding one purple food in your diet daily. If you're doing that, you're doing great for your hair and skin as well. So that's, and your hormones. So my 3 tips for women: seeds, good quality fats, start your day with that fat, and 3 purple foods.
Okay, that's interesting. So I would now jump on to talk a little bit about exercising. So, you've talked about even taking how deep breaths even help. So, for everyone, is the kind of exercise different? Like maybe if somebody is very petite, maybe yoga works for them. If somebody is obese, maybe let's say a different kind of workout for them. Or is there a one size fits all? Or how do you what advice would you give to people who want to step into exercising? How should they go about it?
So again, just like diets, it's not one size fits all exercise for exercise as well. So just like I mentioned earlier to you, like women with PCOS should actually not do high intensity workout. They should actually do slow weighted workout, because it doesn't work and I have seen so many women with PCOS, they work with a personal trainer 2 times in a day and they go for a run. You are actually putting your body in more stress mode. Remember, stress is stress, whether it's mental or whether it's physical. If the body gets this kind of treatment, it treats it as physical stress, which means the brain got the signal there is stress, even if it's physical, and it releases our cortisol hormone out, which is our stress hormone, which means more insulin is produced by our body. And again, we are in this vicious cycle of hormonal imbalance. So a lot of women actually go to the gym every day and they don't see even 1 kg or weight loss. Is because you're putting yourself in this vicious cycle of giving physical stress, cortisol hormone out, imbalanced blood sugar, and that's where you're back again. So it's like this round circle that you are putting yourself. Exercise is very unique to every human being. Again, and to find that out for yourself, what really works for me. And if you do not have any help of a professional, try out anything for a good 5 to 6 weeks. So if you've done HIIT training and it's not working, completely move to something like Tai Chi and yoga or Pilates and see if it is working for you. Try to then move on something like more cardio based, like swimming or cycling that you've never tried before. Maybe that's working for you. So you could and try it out for good 5 to 6 weeks to see what actually really works for you. And most women would actually come back and tell me, I have moved to taking daily walks. I do 2 yoga classes and 2 Pilates classes, and I lost more weight than ever. That while they were with a personal trainer. So again, it is person to person. Give yourself a try each for 5 to 6 weeks and see what's working best for you.
Okay. Now I think we would be ending this health segment. I'm sure a lot of women have gained from your knowledge today, ma'am. Thanks a lot. But before we end this session, I would want to move to the policy recommendations. And, giving some policy recommendations to the policymakers. Let's say for any country, there are policymakers, right? So what recommendations would you give them? Like having more, let's say, creches for women, so that, they good quality creches for women, so that, they can leave their kid there and go off to work. So any kind of those recommendations that you think that you can give the policymakers? Maybe?
Well, I think if I had to put one policy for, a government, whether it's India, or whether it's UAE or any of these Asian, is preventive care is somehow not considered or put under medical insurance. is not given that kind of importance, yet. However, a lot of other countries, in Europe or let's say on the West, they do have an allocated insurance amount for preventive health and wellness. And I just really hope that someday that it becomes as mandatory as having medical insurance or life insurance. How it is like mandatory to have those in place. If there was an insurance for wellness, I think more and more people would, want to take this path. Most of them sometimes do know the need for it, but just the fact that it's not covered under insurance or they can't afford it really is a barrier in the middle. So I think if this area was solved and it's made something like a mandatory thing across the world, it would really, really be beneficial.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I think this was a very, very helpful session. We talked about your professional journey. What was your trigger point in starting you as a health coach, your venture LivLively? We talked about you working with children of special needs and what was your motto and what is your motto. And then we talked about your advice to the young female population with respect to health and wellness. And then we also talked about policy recommendations. Throughout, I am like so thankful to you for providing such beautiful insights. And any last words before we end the session that you have for our audience today?
Okay, so I always start with this, but today I'm ending with this. And I've always mentioned it's on my website and all my social media platforms is the greatest gift that you can give your loved ones and your kids is your own health. Do make it your number one priority.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And before I end the session, I just want to say to all the women out there, you all have the strength, you all have the patience, you all have the courage and the passion. You can change the world and you can reach the stars. Thank you.
Thank you. I just resonate that completely with you. And I wish our segment, even if it inspires one woman to take that action towards, apart from their health goals, to their entrepreneurial journey, would be absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sheetal ma'am. Looking forward to connect.